My name is Darcy Paquet. I do different work related to cinema, but most recently I did the subtitles for Parasite, and I also teach about cinema.
For Parasite, the big movie of the year, I heard the process was very similar, whereby you sat down with director Bong and looked over the final version together.
Yep.
What was that process like?
This was, because originally I did the first draft when I was on vacation in the US.
Okay.
So I was at my parents' kitchen table, like typing out the subtitles for about a week and a half, and then we sent some emails back and forth with the production company as well. But then after I got back to Korea, there were 2 days where we had these long meetings at CJ, where it was the director and the producer and me, but then also 3 or 4 people from the international team at CJ, and they all speak English very well, and they all had suggestions to throw out. And so it was really helpful just to get a lot of people thinking together about the challenging points of the translation.
Yeah, I read somewhere that 짜파구리 was the hardest to translate.
I was just sort of embarrassed because I made up this word,
Ramdon,
which sounds ridiculous. I just thought that people would laugh at me when I did that, but it kind of works in the film. Luckily, because first this word comes out in the dialogue during a phone conversation.
Yeah.
And then one character puts down the phone and says,
"What is that?"
What is Ramdon? And then shortly later, as she's preparing the food, as she's boiling it, we see on the screen like the packages.
Yeah, the 2 different packages.
And so even though it's not ramen and udon, I wrote ramen and udon over the thing so that people could understand that this was a word made by kind of sticking them both together. I did actually Google Ramdon before writing it, and there was like nothing.
Nothing.
It appears not to be a word in any language at all.
You watched the woman eat the noodles, and it's a mystery black noodle.
That's right.
And so I thought that maybe it would have been useful for those who are curious to have the phrase 짜파구리 in there somewhere, so they could look it up later.
Yeah.
But I guess there's not enough time in that.
I know, it's always, there are always debates like that. In that case, like if you put the original Korean word, then later people who are curious can go and search it out. There are other examples like with Seoul National University where
it was Oxford.
Right, and I'm sure that there are a lot of perhaps graduates of Seoul National University who might feel a little upset about having their their university kind of overlooked in favor of Oxford. And the first time I did the translation, I did write out Seoul National University in the translation. We ultimately decided together to change it because it's a very funny line, and in order for humor to work, people need to understand it immediately. Whereas if there's an unfamiliar name of a university in the middle, then people have to stop and think more, and then the humor is kind of lost. And also Seoul National University is very long and Oxford is much shorter.
Right.
And always when you're doing subtitles, everything has to be so condensed. That's the biggest challenge, I think, in translating subtitles.
But I did wonder why you chose Oxford over Harvard. Was it for the Cannes European audience?
There are a couple different reasons. I think the director likes England a lot.
So it was director Bong's choice.
Right. And I've been joking about this as well, but when I was a high school student, I applied to Harvard and I didn't get in. But actually, that's not the real reason. I think that Harvard is sort of a too obvious choice. It's a bit more memorable if you say Oxford rather than Harvard, I think.
Do you have a favorite genre?
I don't think I would say that I have a favorite genre. I like smart comedies a lot, and probably one of the most satisfying things to watch for me is just a really well-made comedy that makes you think as well. And in a way, Parasite is like that. You know, it's much more than just a comedy, but it has a lot of comic elements. And also as a translator, I really like translating comedy as well, because timing is so important. So, it's a fun challenge.
I actually haven't seen the movie that you acted in.
Yes, that's okay. That's probably better.
But I heard you were a foreign correspondent in the movie.
Well, actually, I've been in a couple of movies, but the one that people remember me for is called The Taste of Money.
돈의 맛.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I play a very rich, slightly evil, like scheming capitalist, multi-millionaire or billionaire, like you know, everything that I'm not, basically. And so it's an opportunity to just try to be someone who's very different from myself.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're doing a bit of everything in the movie industry.
Yeah, I've been lucky to have that opportunity.
Yeah. You've already acted. Are there plans to maybe write or produce or direct a movie in the future?
I would find it interesting either to produce a film or to write a screenplay. And there are a couple of projects I have in my mind. The thing is, I haven't been able to find enough time to really concentrate on those because my workload is so intense. But I'm hoping that in the next year or two, maybe I can make a bit of progress. And, because the creative side of filmmaking is so much fun and it's so rewarding, kind of. So as someone who's talked a lot about the film industry and written about it and taught it, and I've always been kind of explaining it or interpreting it. But it's a good feeling to kind of jump inside it also and to actually try making something yourself.
Are there any upcoming projects that you'd like to tell us about?
Oh, I mean, they haven't really progressed to the point where I can really say anything, but yeah, just as the longer I spend in Korea, the more filmmakers I get to meet, and I've become close with some of them, and I see them as they're doing different kinds of work, and I'm always happy to help when I can. So yeah, we'll see. Fingers crossed I'll be able to introduce something in the coming years.
And I assume for any future projects that director Bong Joon-ho works on, you'll be there for
I hope so.
the subtitles.
You can never predict, but yeah, I certainly won't turn down the opportunity.